Proud to serve northeastern and central Pennsylvania. This is WNEP TV 16, the news station. Now, Nolan Johannes, Karen Harsh, Jack Ruland in Skycam 16, meteorologist Tom Clark with his backyard forecast, and Tim Carlson Sports. This is Newswatch 16.
Good evening. I'm Nolan Johannes. Karen Hart has the night off. Was someone tipped off that the company which owns Pennsylvania Gas and Water was going to be the object of a takeover attempt? Federal officials are trying to figure that out and apparently suspicious that stock deals made just before the PG&W buyout plan was announced. Newswatch 16's Mark Davis is standing by live now in our newsroom with the latest. Mark?
No, that was just one of the many topics discussed during a 5-hour board of directors meeting for Pennsylvania Energy Incorporated in Wilkes-Barre today. Now, the offer to buy the company has been tabled until May 11th. PEI says it needs more information before it makes a recommendation to the shareholders. But now the attention shifts to an investigation by federal authorities, the Securities and Exchange Commission, into a 29-fold increase in the sale of PEI stock just a few hours before the takeover bid was announced. A board of directors walked in one by one to company headquarters early this morning. No one was talking. Not until hours later when acting PG&W President Robert Jones talked about some suspicious stock activity just 3 hours before the takeover bid was delivered to him last week.
What's the normal volume and what was it that?
About 2,000 shares maybe a day. And that was 58,000 that day.
Was it bought in one block or individuals or?
No, as best we can determine, it was 2 or 3 large blocks, like over 10,000 shares.
Later, Jones made it clear he thinks someone did something wrong.
Well, what do you think it all indicates?
Well, somebody had knowledge ahead of time.
So you think somebody's going to get nailed for insider trading?
Mm-hmm.
Now, insider trading is when someone buys a stock at a cheaper price because of inside information knowing it could be later sold at a higher price, thus making a quick profit. Last week, PEI was trading at $39 a share. Carey, the firm which wants to take over PEI, was offering $55 a share. Today, PEI was going for more than $50 a share. Now, Carey Energy had no comment following this afternoon's board action or Jones's comments. We did learn the SEC investigation does have no effect on the company's offer to buy PEI. PG&W wants more information before it decides whether or not to sell. As one PG&W official put it today, you don't decide to sell your house in a few days, and like that, these things take time. Nolan?
A brush fire, a huge brush fire, is burning right now in Columbia County. Skycam 16 flew over the scene not long ago. The fire has swept through 40 acres of land in Montour Township, northwest of Catawissa, making it the biggest brush fire so far this season. Firefighters from all over Columbia County have been battling this blaze. At one point this afternoon, the Forestry Service even brought in tanker planes to dump water on the fire. At this hour, firefighters have the blaze contained, but they still don't have it under control. So far, though, the good news is that they have been able to keep the flames from spreading to a nearby tree farm. And one more bit of good news. So far, no reports of injuries or serious property damage. Blackout today for 2 boroughs that have their own power service. 2,000 Oliphant customers were without power, and as a result, some businesses had to close. It was all because of burning wires at the Oliphant substation that takes power from PP&L lines. Blakely was also affected for a while. Drivers in Oliphant had to be extra cautious with no traffic lights working today. Electricity in Oliphant and Blakely was back on after about 2 hours this afternoon. Construction work on the Natticoke-West Natticoke Bridge is getting back to normal now that a local farmer and Luzerne County officials have stopped feuding. Farmer Henry Bobbin moved his truck from near the bridge this afternoon. He had parked the truck there more than a week ago to prevent construction workers from doing blasting work. Bobbin said the blasting was tossing rocks all over his field. The county took him to court today to ask for an injunction to force Bobbin to move the truck. The county got its injunction, but Farmer Bobbin got what he wanted, too. A judge ordered the county to post a $12,500 bond to pay the farmer in case that bridge work in Luzerne County causes him any more trouble. A railroad bridge in Lackawanna County borough of Moscow is being inspected by officials at this hour. They are worried that the crumbling concrete could hurt someone, and they've asked a judge to stop Steamtown locomotives from crossing the bridge. Skycam 16 is live over the bridge in Moscow, and Newswatch 16's Bob Reynolds is on board with more. Bob?
Well, Nolan, you can get a real good view of the bridge from Skycam 16. Now, Steamtown officials hope to get Moscow Borough to pull back on their lawsuit in time to begin running the trains into the Poconos this coming Saturday. Steamtown crews have been busy fixing up the 76-year-old span for several days now. They've been chipping away at the crumbling concrete and putting new material in its place. Those connected with patching up the bridge say the hazard is completely gone and the bridge is in better shape than ever.
The falling debris has been completely removed. As you can see, even areas which weren't exposed before are now exposed due to the fact that when the laborer hit that with the hammer, he felt a hollow spot underneath there and was instructed to remove that material.
Steamtown officials are spending about $12,000 to get the old bridge back in shape. Now, Newswatch 16's Joe Ducey is on the ground right now as those borough officials begin the process of inspecting the bridge. And, of course, he'll have more for you on this very important story tonight on the update. For now, Bob Reynolds, Newswatch 16 with a live Instacam report aboard Skycam. Nolan?
Okay, Bob, thank you. And when Newswatch 16 continues, a victory for Governor Casey. The House approves his plan to change the LCB. Plus, the parents of a young liver transplant patient get set to help families deal with the miracles of modern surgery.
Find something good to spread, and I'll tell you about my Earth Harvest bread. Bring your appetites. Let's do-si-do. I'm Grandpa Strowman, if you don't know. Try mine harvest of the good earth tonight. You'll taste nature's goodness in every bite. There's California raisin, mine wheat and soft rye, and 2 more in the family you ought to try. Light natural wheat, light and natural white.
40 calories a slice? That's really light.
The most delicious harvest there's ever been. I make sure the goodness is baked in.
Give a little nibble, give a little nibble.
Wendy's asks, before you eat your next hamburger, any hamburger, taste the meat.
Give a little nibble.
Is it dry and chewy, or hot and juicy? Is it bland, or is it tasty?
Give a little nibble.
No other hamburger has Wendy's hot and juicy taste. The more you nibble others, the more you'll love Wendy's.
Half of Governor Casey's battle to change the way Pennsylvania sells liquor has been won. The state House approved the bill and has now sent it to the Senate. If passed there, enforcement of liquor laws at state stores and taverns would pass from the State Liquor Control Board to the state police. Also, the LCB would be renamed the Alcoholic Beverages Commission. One amendment sent on to the Senate today, the state would have to open 10 wine specialty shops around the Commonwealth. The condition of 7-year-old Ronnie DeSillers is worse today. Pittsburgh Children's Hospital officials say the Miami, Florida boy who has had his 3rd liver transplant in 2 months now has developed pneumonia, and hope is fading that the donated liver will begin to function. The nationwide search continues to find a donor for yet another transplant for that boy. There is a thankful family in Columbia County tonight. They also have a young liver transplant patient with them. Newswatch 16's Dan Fiorucci reports on a unique way the parents of Nicholas Wolf are showing their gratitude for their son's successful transplant.
A year ago, 18-month-old Nicholas Wolf was dying. His liver was failing and his skin was visibly yellow. He needed a transplant. Today, with a new liver, Nicholas is healthy and happy, and his parents face a new challenge: how to stop worrying about him and let him live a normal life.
I know I worry about him more than I would a normal child.
And smell the flower. Because parents of transplanted children have a natural tendency to shelter them, the Nicholas Wolf Foundation is trying something new.
What's that? Today is what, the 29th?
Nicholas' father bought 25 acres of property today at a site outside Millville. Perhaps as early as this summer, this land will be turned into a camp for children who are waiting for or who have gotten transplants.
The children that are transplanted seem to lead a very protected life, or maybe an overprotected life, and this would give them the opportunity to be able to develop some independence on their own.
And so, even though this place is quiet and serene at the moment, in a few months it could be filled with the delighted screams of children. After all, the purpose of a transplant is to give someone a second shot at life, not to protect them from it.
What's a cow say?
Dan Fiorucci, Newswatch 16, Columbia County.
The Weather Watch is next with our chief meteorologist, Tom Clark. And, Tom, can we look ahead to the weekend so far
Yes, we
today?
can. I have an idea of what I think is going to happen.
All right.
I have another cold front moving through now, and when we come back, we'll talk about the return of some sunshine. You're watching Newswatch 16 on WNEP TV. We're proud to serve Marion Heights and all of Northumberland County.
I've got an idea. Why doesn't New Coke have a taste test where New Coke takes on Pepsi, and we'll call it the New Coke Pop Quiz? They have? Where?
When Coke did take on Pepsi in nationwide tests, more people chose Coke over Pepsi. Prove it to yourself. You'll see why more people are choosing the taste of Coke. Catch the wave. Coke.
I've got another idea, but I'm not telling you.
Here's Joe Amato, top fuel champion and president of A&A Auto Parts.
Driving my top fuel dragster at speeds up to 270 miles per hour, I lay my life on the line. I need the best name brand parts available, so I rely on A&A Auto Parts stores for the highest quality parts at the lowest prices.
Gabriel Red Ryder gas shocks for cars and light trucks on sale this week, $12.95.
A&A Auto Parts. If I can rely on them, so can you.
See an A&A Auto Parts store near you.
I have it on good authority. Tom Clark mowed his grass for the 4th time so far this year. Tom, you put me to shame.
Nolan, well, you know, it's one way to keep the grass healthy, to not cut too much off at one time. But the cold temperatures have been slowing down the growth of the grass this week. See some dark clouds over the Poconos. A front is now moving through. We've had a few sprinkles of rain, and it looks like another shot of cooler Canadian air is on the way. I spoke at a scout banquet this past weekend. I want to say hi to the Cub Scouts in pack number 196 from Wyoming. Now, beginning tonight, out in Bradford County, Joyce Stephen tells me 60, and it's windy up there now. In Snydertown at 74, and in Harding, Luzerne County, have a report of 60 degrees there tonight. Next, we go to Skycam 16, a view today flying over a mountain ridge in Carbon County near Lehighton. It's a beautiful spot down there. 63 degrees out back now. Humidity low again today, 34%. The wind is from the west, kind of gusty at 17. The barometer is way low also, 29.34, and it's still falling. High temp here late this afternoon, 65 degrees, 40 below this morning. I had 32 at my place. 85 degrees, the record high set back in 1974. Looking at the European satellite view of southern Europe, I want to highlight France because some students from the Towanda Area High School are spending this week over there. And in Paris today, 79 and 57 the range in temperature. They've had a very dry month of April with only about half the normal precipitation. Just a few scattered showers over southern France in the past couple of hours. Here's the satellite view for us, some scattered showers, just some light sprinkles as a cold front is moving on through now from west to east across Pennsylvania. The snow has ended in New England. A place called Lunenburg in northern Massachusetts picked up 21 inches of snow last night, and many places have shattered all-time records for snowfall amount up there for so late in the season. Steering winds coming down out of southern Canada, a fresh, brisk day on the way for tomorrow. We'll have some clearing skies later on tonight after the clouds move on out and that front pushes off across New Jersey. Temperatures tonight close to 40 for morning lows. The Cold Spot Eagles mare at 37. The wind coming in from the west later on tonight. It'll be gusting to 25. The sunrise time for tomorrow morning is at 6:03, and the sun sets at 7:59. So for tonight, a clearing trend, 39 in the backyard and close to 40 in many places. A windy day tomorrow, a brisk, fresh kind of a day, a mixture of clouds and sun, low humidity, 55 in the backyard. That's a good 7 degrees below normal. Partly sunny on Friday. The weekend is shaping up to be rather nice at this point. Temps close to normal, the middle 60s, and we'll have some sunshine both days. Nolan, I'm just glad we got through the month of April this year without a big snowstorm.
Amen. Well, have there been any in May, Tom?
We've had a trace of snow in May, back in 1977, but that's about it.
All right, we'll wait to see. See you on the update.
Okay.
Tim Carlson is next with a Sports Watch with afternoon baseball from the local Bills, plus the complete story on the Pennsylvania College football players chosen in the draft.
You ought to be in pictures.
Say cheese.
You're wonderful to see.
Say cheese. Now say cheese at Burger King and get this terrific outdoor pocket camera for only $1.99. It takes great pictures with regular 110 film. Just order a Whopper with cheese or any sandwich with cheese.
Say cheese.
Do it now. These cameras will be gone in a snap.
You're gonna be in pictures at Burger King.
Say cheese.
When you choose home health care products from Wasseratz, you're backed by dedicated Wasseratz people. Knowledgeable sales representatives and orthopedic fitters ready with sound advice. Skilled technicians who deliver oxygen, wheelchairs, and other necessities with courteous 24-hour service. Registered nurses who give you valuable in-home guidance and support. Choose Wasserats, dedicated to improving your quality of life. Call toll-free today.
Some good news about Dwight Gooden, right, Tim?
Absolutely, and I think if you're a Mets fan, you got to feel pretty good today. Another part of the process to get Mets pitcher Dwight Gooden back on the mound took place late this afternoon. Dwight was released from Smithers Alcoholism and Drug Treatment Center in New York shortly after 4 o'clock. 28 days of treatment for a cocaine abuse problem behind him and no hair on his head, as you notice. You can see they didn't waste any time getting Gooden into a waiting car outside the clinic, where he was admitted April 2nd after testing positive for coke. The Mets will make an announcement concerning Dwight's future later this evening. The major Pennsylvania colleges came out of yesterday's NFL draft looking pretty good. 21 kids will be headed to pro football camps in the near future. The biggest contributor, of course, was Penn State. 13 Lions taken. 2 of those 13 were in round 1. The first, All-American linebacker Shane Conlon. The Buffalo Bills chose Shane 8th in the round. It's a good deal for Conlon since the Bills need mucho defensive help, and Buffalo's just a few miles from Shane's hometown. The second Penn Stater to go in round 1 was running back extraordinaire D.J. Dozier. He was picked 14th by Minnesota. Kind of surprising since the Vikes had not approached Deej prior to draft day. Now, the remainder of the Penn State players to go in the draft positions listed may not be college positions, however, but how the NFL teams plan to use players in pro ball. So keep that in mind. Fullback Tim Manoa went in the 3rd round, chosen by the Browns. Running back Steve Smith by the Raiders in the very next pick of round 3. In round 4, linebacker Don Graham, chosen by Tampa Bay. Penn State punter John Bruno picked up in round 5 by the Cardinals. Also in round 5, offensive tackle Chris Conlon went to Miami. 2 players went in round 6, nose tackle Tim Johnson to Pittsburgh, and linebacker Bob White ended up with San Francisco. Offensive guard Dan Morgan selected in the 8th round by the Denver Broncos. Then in the 9th round, Bob Onko chosen by Indianapolis as a linebacker. In round 10, defensive back Sid Lewis headed for the Jets. And finally, in the 11th round, tight end Brian Seiberling was chosen by the Detroit Lions. Now, across the state, Pitt folks happy about one of their own going in round 1. Tony Woods, who played defensive end for the Panthers, was drafted 18th in the 1st round as a linebacker by Seattle. Coach Chuck Knox says Woods, a second-team All-American, will play right outside linebacker for the Seahawks. And 3 other Panthers were taken in the draft. In round 4, offensive tackle Randy Dixon went to Indianapolis. Also in the 4th round, defensive tackle Lorenzo Freeman picked up by Green Bay. And finally, in the 7th round, Miami chose running back Tom Brown. The final first-round choice of the pros from Pennsylvania schools belonged to Temple University. The Kansas City Chiefs took All-American running back Paul Palmer as pick number 19. Palmer, the nation's leading rusher last year and runner-up to Vinny Testaverde in the Heisman Trophy Award balloting. The little guy from Temple will help the Chiefs improve a very weak ground game. And 2 more kids from the Owls made it to the pros. Wide receiver Willie Marshall picked up by Green Bay in the 6th round, while defensive back Larry Bruton was taken by Cleveland in round 11. And finally, one other Pennsylvania football player to talk about, Chris Thatcher, an offensive guard from Easton's tiny Lafayette College. A rare draftee out of there. Thatcher selected by the Cincinnati Bengals in the 7th round. Turned out to be a great day for Pennsylvania football. How about that? Somebody out of Lafayette. That's great. More afternoon baseball in Williamsport today as the Bills play Glen Falls again. The Bills starting today with an 8-5 record, a game out of 1st in the Eastern League. Unfortunately, it looks like the Bills are going to go to 8-6 because right now in the top of the 9th inning, they are trailing Glens Falls by a score of 9-3. We'll have highlights on that ball game tonight on the update, of course, at 11 o'clock. And also coming up tonight, we'll have the Sixers playing the Bucks at the Spectrum, the Phillies playing the Expos at the Vet. Think there's going to be a traffic jam somewhere down there on Broad Street tonight, huh?
Yeah, right. Maybe we should have highlights of that afterwards.
Maybe we will.
Okay.
See you later.
Never can tell. When Newswatch 16 continues, showing me the ropes at his playground. We'll meet Louie, our Wednesday's child.
Hello. Let's talk seriously about dinner. Face it, lately, who can afford a generous dinner of steak and crab legs? Nobody. But now, Bonanza Restaurants has juicy steak and tender crab legs at a very special price, only $7.99. Just imagine steak and tender crab, plus the all-you-can-eat Fresh-Tastics food bar. But best of all, you don't have to get all dressed up.
New steak and crab legs for just $7.99 at participating Bonanza Family Restaurant.
If your car needs tires and you don't know where to turn to McCarthy for quality General tires. Visit McCarthy's new high-performance centers. Ask our high-performance specialist about General's XP 2000 series high-performance radials. And turn to McCarthy for tune-ups, brakes, mufflers, satisfaction guaranteed. And right now, register to win this gas-powered mini racer at 5 regional McCarthy Tire locations.
Finally tonight, another of the many young boys of our area who has no man in his young life. A Wednesday's child who is waiting for someone to volunteer to be his big brother. Spring is a time to look ahead. For a young boy, it's baseball, bike riding, and the great outdoors. But for Louis, things are limited. Do you have a bicycle, Louis?
No.
Would you like to have a bike?
Yes.
And Louis has no adult man to help him through the summer. He's been waiting for a volunteer to come to Big Brothers and be his adult friend.
My mom called them a long time ago.
And it just hasn't happened yet, right?
Yeah.
So our Wednesday's child, like so many others in Lackawanna, Luzerne, Wyoming, and Lehigh counties, and now in the Stroudsburgs and Bloomsburg, wait. Wait for some regular attention from a man. Attention that is so badly needed in a young boy's life. You can help a Wednesday's child. Call Big Brothers Big Sisters. They are listed in the phone book. And we'll see you on the update tonight.